In this video, we will discuss a general motor program for executing the dynamic squat. The dynamic squat movement begins with the performer in an upright position, feet planted firmly on the ground, knees and hips fully extended, chest up and looking straight forward. The performer then flexes first at the hip, followed by at the knees and ankles until they have lowered their body to the desired depth of the squat. Once at this depth, the performer will then shift their movement back upwards and ascend to the starting position. Here we show again the squatter starting in neutral position with the chest forward and up, looking straight forward, the feet planted firmly on the ground. The squatter will then flex at the hips, then at the knees, and lower the body to the desired depth of the squat. The term general motor program is used to describe a theory that learners store a learned sequence of movement for specific actions within the memory and a unique pattern of results each time this action is executed. This is called a generalized motor program as it allows for many variations to conduct similar motions. The variations we will discuss today are the front squat and the back squat. We will begin with the back squat. For this type of squat, the grip will depend on your flexibility, but generally a narrower grip will create the best shelf for holding your weight. If you lack flexibility for a narrow grip, start out wider, then slowly bring it in as you become more flexible. With the weight on your shoulders, your feet should be slightly wider than hip width apart. Your toes should be pointing outward. Flex the stomach and activate the glutes, and break at the hips. Continue to lower until the hips are approximately parallel with the ground. Once at the desired depth of the squat, drive the weight of your body through your heels to ascend back upwards to the starting position. The muscles used for the back squat are the gluteus maximus, the quadricep muscles, the hamstrings, as well as the transverse abdominis and the erector spinae. Additionally, the flexors of the ankles as well as the calves are used. The average shear forces recorded during the back squat are approximately 2,700 newtons, with the greatest forces being directed posteriorly with the hips. Maximal anterior forces occur within the first 60 degrees of knee flexion, with most of the opposing force occurring at the ACL. The back squat of the two variations requires comparable muscle recruitment and places much more compression on the spine as well as on the knees. Duration of muscle contraction is highly dependent at the speed at which the exercise is being conducted, as well as if the performer pauses at the bottom of the squat for both variations. At this time, we will discuss the front squat. The front squat is primarily used to develop the muscles of the lower body, including the quadriceps, the calves, and the gluteus maximus. The front squat is by nature more quadricep dominant than the back squat and requires more midline stabilization and activation of the hips to keep the spinal cord erect and prevent injury. Research suggests that the front squat might be a more effective movement to elicit lower body strength and power, simply since the same stimulus is present, the same muscles activated, but with much less stress and compression placed on the spine and knees. Go. At this time, we will discuss the different forms of feedback for ensuring that the motor learner properly executes the squatting movement. As previously discussed, the proper squatting performance is key to avoid injury and to ensure that the proper muscles are being activated. Some key points to ensure that your squatter is performing the motion correctly is to ensure that they are maintaining a neutral spine. This ensures that the mover is not placing excessive load on the upper back. For many individuals, the proper key and feedback terms is just to remind the user to hold the chest tall and to look straight forward and keep the chin tucked to maintain a neutral neck position. Additionally, the learner should push the hips back. A common mistake in the squat is that letting the knees track too far forward over the toes. Lastly, when returning from the squatting position, it is important for the squatter to remember to drive their weight through the heels instead of on the balls of the toes. Another form of feedback that a motor learner can use when executing the squat is the sense of proprioception. This is feedback given from the body's proprioceptive sensors and ensures that the athlete is able to differentiate effective skill and execution from error. Some useful proprioceptive cues for individual performing the squats are to ensure that the body does not move too far forward. Have the learner imagine that the body cannot move forward, only up and down. This ensures that they are bearing the weight properly. Have the learner press the big toes down into the ground while performing the squatting motion. Press the big toes down into the ground to assist performer in achieving maximum glute and hamstring activation, as well as providing stability and optimal ground contact with the feet. Ensure that as the squatter is completing the motion, that they activate the core. Activating the core ensures that the squatter maintains proper neutral spine to help prevent injuries. Lastly, visual cues are the best for a motor learner who does not have a coach present. The use of a well-placed mirror can aid a performer in proper proprioception while executing the squatting motion.